Hello, and welcome back to Heyday, the station that brings you nostalgia like it used to be. Now, as you know, here at Heyday, we are absolutely dedicated to bringing you the classic days of British rock and roll. We bring you the greatest names from the dim and distant past, and none are dimmer or more distant than the RUTLES. Now, when the news broke that Neil Innes and John Halsey were once more hitting the road and performing some of the music from the RUTLES live in concert at a venue near you, well, there was a minor frisson of excitement, I can tell you. In order to stay ahead of the media scrum, we immediately dispatched our crew to the rehearsal room to interview Neil Innes and John Halsey, and those interviews will be coming up right away. But there was even bigger news to come. Things got positively lukewarm here when we heard the news that an exclusive live album was being produced, which was only available on the tour. Now, the new CD, entitled Live and Raw, features new recordings of many of the RUTLES classics captured live. Also featured on the album is a brand new RUTLES song called Imitation Song, and it really is better than average. Now, today we are proud to present to you the worldwide television premiere of Des Birkinshaw's short film of Neil Innes performing Imitation Song, the first new RUTLES composition of the 21st century. But first of all, let's take you behind the scenes to the RUTLES rehearsal rooms, where the boys are preparing for the UK tour, which hits the road in May 2014.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I describe it as all being written by one person, and it's extremely varied. It's good fun to play, good fun to sing. The whole thing about it is very enjoyable.
We were asked last year to do something in Liverpool, and I said, well, I don't mind so long as someone else organises it, and John volunteered to organise it. And John said, well, we're silly doing one gig. Let's do a few more, and we found 7 more, and we did 8 gigs, 7 of them back to back, which is a bit of a strain on the old voice.
You can see the audiences. We didn't play vast places, we played quite small places, and it was like a sing-along crowd. It was like sing-along with ABBA, but it wasn't, it was the RUTLES.
The RUTLES, to me, in my mind, has never been a career move, but everything we've done, has been fun. The only downside, I would say, is that I've been labelled a parodist. I'm surprised at some of the young people who know it, because the RUTLES is now getting on for 40 years old. And there's loads of youngsters know the songs, loads of youngsters in the audience singing along.
I feel good, I feel bad, I feel happy, I feel sad. Am I in love? I must be in love.
Rutland Weekend Television, when Eric Idle asked me to do some television with him, it was, I said, well, what sort of television, because I hadn't got good memories of television, having done stuff with the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band, and Eric, and Michael Palin, Terry Jones, and Terry Gilliam. On Do Not Adjust Your Set. And the Bonzos, you see, were just coming off the road, doing a bit of television, coming back on the road. We never had time to work out what we were doing, so it was chaos, and the cameras never pointed where they wanted to. So I actually said, when Eric said to me, do you fancy doing some television? I said, I don't really like television. He said, why not? I said, because the camera's never pointing anywhere. And he quickly realised I was talking about experience with the Bonzos and Do Not Adjust Your Set. So he said, no, you can tell the cameras where to point. And I went, aha, this is new. So I thought, okay, tell me more. And basically he was going to write some sketches, and he wanted me to write sort of musical things and cover the music base, really, because we were trying to make a television station, Rutland Weekend Television. And being the smallest county, it would have the smallest budget. And it was basically a license to make cheap television, which BBC Two loved. That was the only reason they commissioned it, I'm sure.
First got to know Neil, I think, 1973, when I was asked to join Grimm's. Went round his home in Slaithwaite Road. It wasn't Huddersfield, it was Lewisham. And got to know Neil then, and then did various things through the years, which included a band called Fatso that worked with Neil. And we did the music for Rutland Weekend Television for the 2 series that we're on. And from that came the RUTLES.
Well, because I was looking around for cheap ideas, you know, for musical, cheap television ideas, I suddenly thought, let's do a spoof of A Hard Day's Night, because it's in black and white, and it's just some guys running around a field in wigs and tight trousers and pointy shoes. It can't be expected. I never really thought it was much of a Beatles song, really. It's a kind of, I Must Be in Love was the song. And then it goes to America and it's shown there, and then all of a sudden they've got the money to make the whole story. And the next thing is, you know, can I write 20 more RUTLES songs? And you get caught up in it. And you say, well, all right, I'll have a go. And the next thing you've done it, and you're out filming, and then you think that's going to be it. But you know, it's not. It came to me that I shouldn't listen to any Beatles songs if I was going to try and write similar songs, you know, because you just get overwhelmed. So I thought, well, I'll try and think where I was when I heard certain kinds of Beatles songs, because the Beatles did so many kinds of songs, you know, by then. You know, how many they did gone from the sort of early rhythm and blues through the, you know, Sgt. Pepper, and they'd done the big link up, All You Need Is Love, and you know, they were icons, true icons of an age. So I thought where I was, and I tried to remember what I was doing, you know, and so some of the early songs I was in school dances and things like that, and experienced the magic of putting my hand inside a girl's bra for the first time. You know, those are quite hard songs to write, but you have to think like a teenager and think what's important. And so things like Hold My Hand and With a Girl Like You and things like that were, you know, hard to write. But then the psychedelic stuff was a little easier lyric-wise, but you had to be more disciplined, because actually any old rubbish won't do, you know. So I really enjoyed doing it, but I mean, I'm so glad I didn't listen to any Beatles songs. I love the Beatles songwriting. I'm a real fan of their songwriting, and I think mainly because they were different. They kept doing different things. In fact, they obviously listened to lots of other people, and he said hardly any of their songs were the same. So in a way, they were ruttling, you know, people they liked, you know. And in fact, I think the word ruttle should be in the dictionary as a verb, to ruttle. You know, to copy or emulate someone you admire, brackets, especially in the music business, you know. And then that way, you know, we're all ruttles, you know, children ruttle their parents. We're a whole, not the planet of the apes who play with fire, we're all ruttles. We mimic, we ape in another way, you know. So this makes us the biggest band in the world, the RUTLES.
Little piggy went to market. This little piggy stayed at home. This little piggy had roast beef.
Well, it's funny because I think a lot of the compositions in Archaeology, the second RUTLES album, were more enjoyable as songs in a way, because the first album was really a soundtrack album with sort of signposts saying story this way and that way, you know, and kind of fun to do and everything, but yeah, I think I like one of my favourite songs, The Way We Do It. I really is eine kleine Mittelklasse music. Again, you know, it's nice to hear audience laughing at lyrics that aren't silly all the time.
Look at all the nice things money can buy. Every day there's more and more. Do you ever stop and wonder why you're neither rich nor poor? Eine kleine Mittelklasse music.
The UK tour has got 19 dates. There are three weeks of 5 in a week, which I hope the voice will hold up, and one with 4. But then we go straight to Tokyo, do 2 in Tokyo. But I mean, who knows? I mean, I never say never, you know. But while it's fun, I think we should do it, and it's not. I don't know whether we should call ourselves the real RUTLES or something, because, you know, the other ones weren't real. They were on film, you know, there was a notion. And it was, you know, this is different. We were like going back to the hamburger days, you know, when we were a tight little band and just playing music and people liking it. And that is fun.
Knocking about with a bunch of mates in the back of a van, playing card games and drinking beer and making music to the adulation of vast audiences. Of course I enjoy it!
Well, that just about wraps it up for part 1. We hope that has whetted your appetite to get out there and grab a ticket for the UK tour. You can find full details of the shows online in the events section of Heyday TV. I'll certainly be at as many of the gigs as I possibly can. But if you still haven't made up your mind to join me, stick around for part 2. Coming up right after this, we feature the first new RUTLE song of the 21st century. Hello, and welcome back to our behind-the-scenes visit to the secret rehearsals for the UK forthcoming tour. Now, to prevent panic buying of the tickets, the preparations for the tour are a closely guarded secret, known by only you, me, and the British viewing public. But of course, you will once again be able to experience the glorious music of the RUTLES performed by its original members.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Phil Jupiter sort of said, you know, warned me. He said, you know, when you go up a notch to bigger venues, it all changes a bit, and it's very difficult. If you play in sort of 300 to 500 seaters, or people stand, you know, and are enjoying and drinking and what have you, that's one kind of venue. But if you get over that, if you go up to 900 seaters, you know, then it all changes a bit. But when the Idiot Bastard Band played Birmingham Town Hall, 900 people, it was packed out and it was a lot of fun. I mean, it's still fun on that side. Much bigger than that, no, I think. No, that would get horrid.
Joking about the smoke and the soot, mother would put the milk bottles out. We had a good time in Double Back Alley, fences to climb, and Father O'Malley.
There's Mark Griffiths, the bass player with the Shadows, and Cliff. He's playing bass and doing backing vocals. Ken Thornton, the guitar player from Chicago, flying over at great expense. Mickey Simmons, the keyboards player. Neil and myself.
Happy smiling faces if I flog my memory.
Yeah, it's all the west coast of Britain, really. It's all up the west side, apart from London. I can't see much on the east side at all, you know. The last tour was like that as well. We're a West Country band, I think.
You can't engineered this sort of thing. It's like when children play. They all decide they're going to play this game, and their imaginations just click. And I think it's similar with the RUTLES. You know, everybody knows we're not a super mega group, but it's fun to pretend you're with a super mega group and behave like people who are with. So everyone's having a little satirical go at everything, but the same knowing, you know, knowing what the irony is. That's probably really what irony means, is knowing that it's a joke. And I think it's a game that everyone can play.
Easy listening. I'm in that easy listening mode. Yes. Easy listening.
Oh, definitely. We're definitely going to say hello this time, because we're going to have, you know, the albums to sell and whatever else we can sort of make a profit on. No, we're going to be sponsored, you know, by Fiasco Superstores, as well as Heyday. I hope that Heyday come through with a sort of really good deal, and maybe some vegetable racks or something like that. But we will have banners and go out and say hello, and anybody who wants to bring any bags of stuff, like Bonzo's or Python or RUTLES albums or Pato albums or anything, we'll be there, we'll be signing it and saying hi, because that's also what part of being a RUTLE, and not being a RUTLE, but being a band should be about.
Some produce to sell. That time of year we should have probably some early runner beans. It's a bit early for tomatoes. I don't know, might have some beetroot. The kale will be finished. So anyway, we'll be out there selling what we can harvest.
Either live and raw or real and raw, and it'll only be available on the tour at first, and then it'll go into shops. Maybe it'll go to America, I don't know, but certainly in Japan. But you know, it's nice to do things as they happen. You know, it's not like we're going to launch something and you know, sort of really go out there like the people farmers do and try and get traction and footfall and things like that. We are icons with momentum.
Love life, love life, love life, love life. Make up your mind, love life, in your own time. Love life, to live is to live, love life, to love is sublime. Love life, where there's a will, there's a
It's the album. We're lucky to have these recordings because Benji Fox, our engineer, decided on the last night of the tour, you know, we hadn't really been paying attention to anything, and he decided to take all the feeds from the stage and put them into 2 channels and run a recording off it. It's not as though it's gone into the mixer and into his recording, it's what came off. So it's great to find these tracks with such a real live atmosphere to them. And it's not, of course it's shorter than the show, but in many ways sometimes a technical thing would happen, so that track couldn't be played. But we've got a really wide range of tracks. We've got 14 tracks, and I think about 50 minutes. And I think it's a lovely little snapshot of the tour last year. We will probably record properly some stuff this year, but the more I listen to this album, the more I think it's absolute fun and one of these lucky accidents. There it is, and it doesn't sound hi-fi, but it sounds like vintage recording where everyone's around one microphone or something. And it's got that spontaneity.
Life is the meaning of love. Love is the meaning of life. Life is the meaning of love. Love is the meaning of life. Life is the meaning of love. Love is the meaning of life. Life is the meaning of love. Love is the meaning of life. Life is the meaning of love. Love is the meaning of life. Life is the meaning of love.
So, there you have it, the mighty sound of the RUTLES coming to a concert hall near you in May. Try and make it along if you can. John and the boys will be performing all the classics, and yes, they do requests, as well as weddings, private parties and Masonic functions. You'll also have a chance to hear brand new RUTLES songs here at Heyday, and we are proud to bring you the world premiere of Des Birkinshaw's film of Neil Innes performing Imitation's song. See you on the road in May.
This is a studio track that I made with Mickey Simmons at home. And it was really written for the RUTLES 30th anniversary. And I thought, this is Ron Nasty, whatever the character is. It was his, kind of swan song, but it's not. It's my song. It's like a lot of the later RUTLES songs, Archaeology, are my songs really, just done in a Rutley way, and a bit like Oasis, really.
Imitation song, imitation tune, imitation words, empty speech balloons, never-ending news, false economy, imitation life for you and me. Poppycock-eyed world, we are family. I make believe in you, you make believe in me. Imitation birds, imitation bees, imitation pearls, reality TV, simulated sex, unadulterated, imitation love for you, and I'm so tired of smiley faces everywhere I go, showing me their eyes and teeth as if I didn't know. Imitation hearts, imitation minds, imitation truth. I guess it takes all